G'day and welcome to another episode of Cuppa with a Jesuit. I'm Father Robin Koning, the Provincial Assistant for Vocations for the Australian Jesuit Province, and I'm sharing a cuppa with some of my Jesuit mates.
With Father Robin, I'm Julian Butler, a Jesuit in formation, and we're joined today by Father Hoa Dinh. Father Hoa, welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. Hi, Robin. Hi, Julian.
Father Hoa, you're dragging yourself away a little bit from marking papers at the moment. You're a teacher at Catholic Theological College. Would you tell us a bit about what you teach and how you find teaching in that context?
Yes, thank you. Yes, in fact, just finished marking the last assignment for the semester and for the year. And I'm currently teaching bioethics and sexual ethics at the Catholic Theological College. So it involves teaching the healthcare kind of health ethics and the issues involved like euthanasia, abortion, stem cell research. And on the other hand, issues related to sexuality and marriage and various commitments and within the Catholic vocation to either single life or celibate life or priestly life.
We might talk a little bit later, Father Hoa, when we talk about your own journey to the Jesuits, about why you might be particularly able to teach around some of those healthcare ethics issues and so forth. Tell us, what is it about teaching that you find life-giving, accompanying students as they learn and discover? What do you find in all of that gives you joy or a sense of contentment, accomplishment?
I like exploring the contemporary issues, especially the ethical issues that we face virtually every day, in today's world. Currently, we have a range of issues related to healthcare, like vaccination, the coronavirus, and this vaccine passports, and they're all ethical issues. There are also this euthanasia bill being passed in various states and territories in Australia. Currently is being debated in it has been passed in Queensland and is now being presented to Parliament in New South Wales. So how do we as a faith community kind of understand and discern around these issues, and how do we as a community, as a church, and as healthcare providers can respond to these issues, and inform people of the different choices that they have, and the kind of end-of-life care that we can best provide people with, so that they can have a good kind of pastoral and care, and that will help broaden people's choices. I think resorting to assisted dying, be it voluntary or otherwise, is not a healthy way to go, because there are many other issues related to it, and and these are very, very current and very, very relevant issues, and I have a lot of fun discussing and discerning about all these students in class, and usually we have a very lively discussion in class.
And apart from the teaching side of sexual ethics, so you mentioned, apart from the bioethics, the sexual ethics as well, you also work with various groups to help them to live out the fullness of Christian sexual teaching, both married couples in the support you give for them, and work with other married couples in supporting married life, and also you do some work with priests, seminarians, and religious in terms of how do they live their sexuality in a celibate way. So there's that practical side to which the theoretical stuff comes in there as well, but there's also that practical side to your engagement, isn't there?
Yes. I think sexuality, broadly defined, is our yearning for relationship, with others, with God, and with ourselves. We live in a kind of highly sexualized world, and we think it is about sexual expression, but it's much more deep than that, much deeper, and it engages the whole person, and how we live, and how do we relate to others, and how do we find a life-giving relationship and form a lasting relationship with others, and make a lifelong commitment with others. And these are some of the key issues underlying any life choice, be it religious life, or priestly life, or married life, or single life as well. So it is about relationship. It is about commitments, and living your life in a way that is fulfilling and life-giving for you, and to be authentic to who you are. And this is what sexuality is about. And I do give workshop to seminarians and religious on celibacy and sexuality. And basically, the key aspects of priestly and religious formation is how to live a healthy celibate life, how to integrate your own sexuality, and how to form good supportive friendships with other people, And on the other hand, for married people, they also need a lot of support in the family life, in marriage life, but also in parenting, and how to raise up children in the Christian values, and also to form the children in the Christian faith today. And they do need a lot of support in today's context because of all sort of challenges that they face every day.
And part of that support is that you're able to offer, as I understand it, is the side of spirituality. As you said, sexuality and the married expression of sexuality is about relationships, including relationship with God. And so there's the elements of retreat giving and spiritual direction that you're involved in there as well, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that is the area that I'm most passionate about, this spirituality, spiritual direction, and group retreats. I've just come back from a weekend retreat for a group of over 50 people in Mill Grove on the mountains at Pallotti College, and it was wonderful. It was people were able to open up to God, and we prayed together, and many people had this sense of God being Father to them, and they're able to relate to God as God's children, and it was so really life-giving, and there's a lot of healing, and a sense of connection, and also the sense of the barriers in the relationship were broken down, and people were, and we at the end we went around giving each other a hug, and it was so exciting after the 2 years of lockdown and social isolation. So I hope we haven't broken any rules, but it was a wonderful experience.
Father Hoa, talking about accompanying others as they discern life choices and what to do with their lives. Obviously, at some point, you did that for yourself and discerned a call to enter the Jesuits. Would you tell us a bit about how that unfolded, that desire to join and coming to join the society?
Thank you, Julian. I came to Australia from Vietnam in 1986 as a boat person. And I came through Indonesia and was accepted for migration to Australia. And I began studying medicine at Melbourne University and graduated in 1993. And I worked for 2 years at the old Preston and Northcote Community Hospital in Preston on Bell Street. And at that time, I also had a relationship, and I was planning to get married as well. But then there was a growing sense of restlessness in me. There's a sense that something is still lacking, and I wasn't sure what it was about. and I began a search for what that was all about, you know, and that search took me to Vietnam, and I recall the experience of being climbing the statue of Jesus in Vũng Tàu. It's like a beach resort, and as I was climbing up the spiral stairway inside the statue, I just remember these words: "I'm the way," and I thought, how interesting, because I'm walking on you right now, and if you are the way, then where do you lead people? You know, and I have that thought in the question in my mind, and as I keep walking, and it led me up eventually to the shoulder of Jesus, and it was open air, and I look up to see where this is leading people to, and right at that moment, it occurred to me that this is the way leading people to God. And also, right at that moment, it occurred to me that God is a source of beauty and goodness that my heart has been longing for. So that restlessness in me turns out to be a hunger for God. And it blew my mind. In a split second, I knew I knew me. I discovered what that was all about. And I was hungry for God. And this person, Jesus, I didn't know much about him, but he's the way leading to God, you know, to what I'm looking for. And that began a search for the person Jesus, to discover who Jesus was. And eventually that search led me to the Jesuits, and I joined in 1997. And 24 years later, I can only say that I found what I'm looking for. And if you ask me what is God like, I would say God is like the waterfall, you know, always pouring God's self out to fill us up, you know, our body and soul and spirit with God's life and God's love and energy and goodness. And that is like the ultimate fulfillment of our hunger and yearning and deeper search for meaning and connection and relationship. Yeah.
So having heard something of your particular story, Hoa, if a young man approached you considering priesthood or religious life in the Jesuits, what might you say to him?
Yeah, I would say that if you are also experiencing this sense of restlessness, then keep looking. Because to me, I discovered that restlessness is planted there by God, planted in you by God, and it turns out to be a tremendous source of energy, you know, and this is the grace. And be assured that God is also looking for you, and there is a home for you somewhere where you will be where you will be with God, and that hunger will finally be satisfied. And if you ask me, would I join the Jesuits again today? Then I'll say yes, absolutely. Because I find a home with the Jesuits, and I'm very, very grateful for the Jesuit community and the support that I've received, and the ministries that I'm able to do as a Jesuit, and all the ministries, whatever I do as a Jesuit, there are ways to express that joy and that hope that I've received from God. And yeah, it's a wonderful vocation. Yeah, so go for it.
Well, thank you so much for your enthusiasm and energy there, and for giving us time for this interview. It's been great chatting to you. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rowan.
Thanks,
Thank you.